The main event was very interesting. Going into the 5th round, I was like, oh, Cejudo needs a finish if he wants to win this fight. That was my thought process. I guess a lot of people thought the fight was really close. I thought it was a close fight, but I didn't think that Cejudo won. And I wanted Cejudo to win. Like, I was rooting for Cejudo in that fight. I just didn't see how he would have won on the scorecards. I was actually surprised that it was a split decision. I thought it was going to be unanimous decision for Aljamain, honestly, because I thought it was pretty clear. Because here's the thing too, like, Aljamain is a champ, so if it's a close fight, you're always going to give it to the champ. In my opinion, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I said the same thing when Islam Makhachev beat Volkanovski. If you want to beat the champ, you got to beat the champ. It was a close fight. It was a good fight. Very high level grappling. I thought it was interesting that O'Malley got in the octagon after the fight. A lot of people didn't like that. A lot of people were like, oh, it's turning into WWE. Here's the thing. Yes. Is it a little WWE-esque? Yeah, sure. I get it. But here's the thing. I feel like we kind of need a little bit of that if we want to grow the sport. Like, sometimes you just got to do things that get the views. We all know the UFC is real. We all know that. Why is it such a problem when we have these little trash talk moments? Because it's not like the UFC is fake. Yeah, some of the trash talk might be a little fake. Who cares? The only thing that it's going to do is bring more people to the sport because it's going to help sell the fights. You have to understand, from a perspective of a casual fan, you have to understand that they aren't invested in these fighters like we are. If you're a diehard fan like me, like, you're invested in these fighters. Like, you know what's going on in the division, you know the rankings, you know all that stuff. But if you are a casual fan, you don't know that. So when you see Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad, you're like, who are these people? You know? So in order to attract more fans to the sport, you have to have those little WWE moments. You have to have that. And now that the UFC owns WWE, I guess they had like the merger or whatever. So if you think about that, we're probably going to see a little bit more of that in the UFC, I would think. Because here's what happens. When we get more eyeballs on the UFC, on the sport, then the UFC will generate more money. And also, if we get more eyeballs just in the sport in general, it will help your PFL, Bellator, bare knuckle. It'll help everybody. We have to get more people watching the sport if we want the sport to grow. And when the sport grows, guess what else happens? Fighters get paid more. So if we want fighters to get paid more, then we need to sell more pay-per-views, sell more tickets, grow the sport. Do you guys know, I went to that place last night to watch the fights. There were like 4 people in there watching the fights. Nobody knows what's going on in MMA. So if we want to bring more people to the sport, we have to do that stuff. We have to bring viewership. So I don't mind it at all. Like, I'm like, go ahead and do it. Do the Chael Sonnen thing. I love it. I'm all for it because I want the fighters to get paid. I think that's a pretty reasonable request. But yeah, that's my opinion on that. Conor did it, and it worked. Changed the sport. So yeah, let's embrace it. I don't know. I love it. I think it's fun. Because then you can talk to people about it, because then other people know what's going on in MMA that don't really watch the sport like we do. Because it's gotten so technical that it's like for some people, it's just hard for them to understand what's going on. It's not like the old days.